Welcome to the channel. My name is Rohit and I talk about psychology, health, wealth, and self. And today's topic is one honest decisions can make you unrecognizable. So let's start. You are probably defending a version of yourself that was built a long time ago. Not continuously, not dramatically, but quietly through repeated conclusions about what people like you can do, what never works for you, what is too late, what is unrealistic, what is not worth trying, and what always goes wrong. At some point, those conclusions stopped feeling like opinions. They started feeling like reality. That is where the trap begins. Because once an identity becomes familiar, your mind starts protecting it, even if that identity is small, even if it keeps you stuck, even if it costs you years. You do not just live from your identity, you defend it. Your story decides what you even attempt. Most people think identity is just how they describe themselves. It is deeper than that. Your identity decides what you apply for, what you ask for, what you try, what you avoid, how much effort seems reasonable, how quickly you quit, what kind of failure you treat as feedback, and what kind you treat as proof. If your identity says people like me do not get opportunity like that, you will not just feel doubtful, you will behave differently. You will delay the application, you will under prepare for the interview, you will avoid asking the person who could help. You will see one rejection as confirmation and ignore five signals that the door was still open. Then the result arrives and it looks like evidence. See, I knew it. But you did not simply discover the limit, you helped produce it. That is the part most people miss. An assumed ceiling changes your behavior before reality has a fair chance to answer. The loop is simple. You assume the limit, you reduce actions, create limited results. Limited results confirms the limit. The belief wins because you stop testing it. The victim identity often sounds intelligent. A victim identity does not always sound weak. Sometimes it sounds rational. Sometimes it sounds experienced. Sometimes it sounds like someone who has seen the world clearly and is tired of pretending. I have already tried that. That won't work. That's just how the industry is. People like us don't get those chances. The system is rigged. Be realistic. Some of those statements may contain truth. The world is not magically fair. Some doors are harder to open. Some people do start with more money, better networks, better families, better timing, better health, and better luck. Pretending none of that exists is childish. But there is a difference between seeing obstacles and worshipping them. There is a difference between recognizing reality and using reality as a hiding place. Cynicism feels intelligent because it explains your interaction without asking anything new from you. It lets you feel perceptive while staying exactly where you are. That is why it is so seductive. It gives you the emotional reward of being right without the risk of trying again. And yes, you may be right about some obstacle, but being right and being stuck can happen at the same time. Intelligence can become a cage. Some people can trap themselves with better argument. That is the danger. If you are analytical, you can build a very convincing case for why the next move will not work. You can explain the market, the timing, the psychology, the systems, the economy, the family background. the unfairness, the probability. And some of that analysis may be valid. Some problem is not intelligence, some problem is where the intelligence is pointed. The same mind that can prove why something will fail can also search for the narrow path where it might work. The same reasoning that builds a defense can build a strategy. The same awareness that lists the obstacles can design the first move around them. But if your identity is invested in being blocked, your intelligence becomes a lawyer for the old story. It stops investigating, it starts defending. That is when intelligence becomes dangerous, not because it is wrong, but because it is serving the wrong master. Fault looks back, responsibility looks forward. This is the distinction that changes the whole conversation. Fault and responsibility are not the same thing. Fault asks, who caused this? Responsibility asks, what am I going to do about it now? Something can genuinely not to be your fault and still becomes your responsibility. Your childhood may not be your fault. The way someone treated you may not be your fault. The economy may not be your fault. A bad manager, a broken system, a lost opportunity, a pain betrayal, a default starting point, none of that has to be your default point. None of that has to be your fault. But if the consequences now lives in your life, the next move still belongs to you. That may sound unfair. It often is, but fairness does not change the mechanics. If the solution remains entirely outside you, you have no leverage. You can only wait for the past, the system, the employer, the family, the partner, or the world to become different. Sometimes the world should change. But your life cannot wait until every external condition becomes ideal. Responsibility gives you a handle, not blame, a handle. It says, given the situation as it exists, what can I control from here? The question does not erase what happened, it restores movement. Your old identity will try to sound like reality. The moment you decide to act differently, the old identity will speak. It may not arrive as fear, it may arrive as wisdom. What is the point? You have tried this before. This is unrealistic. People will judge you. You are wasting your time. You know how it ends. Do not automatically believe that voice. Do not automatically reject it. Examine it. Is this actual evidence or is this an old prediction wearing a serious tone? That question creates space. Because many of your strongest limits are not facts, they are memories with authority. They are old experiences promoted into permanent rules. You failed once, so now the category feels unsafe. Someone rejected you, so now asking feels humiliation. You were underprepared once, so now opportunity feels like exposure. You grew up around people who never tried certain things, so now those things feels unrealistic. But a feeling of realism is not the same reality. Sometimes it is just familiarity. Identity changes after evidence. You do not think your way into a new identity, not completely. You act your way into evidence. Then the evidence starts changing the belief. Albert Bandura's work on self efficacy helped establish the idea that people's beliefs about their ability affected whether they can initiate action, how much effort they apply, and how long they persist through obstacles. Performance accomplishments, meaning actually doing the thing, are one of the strongest sources of self efficacy. Your brain trusts proof. You can repeat, I am confident every morning and still avoid the conversation. You can say, I am capable and still never apply. You can tell yourself, I am changing, and still obey the same old avoidance pattern every day. Words can point you in a direction. Action built the case. One direct message sent, one application submitted, one honest conversation started, one workout completed, one offer made, one boundary set, one small promise kept. The action does not have to transform your life in one day. It only needs to contradict the old story. That contradictions matters. If the old identity says I never follow through, one completed commitment creates a problem for that belief. If the old identity says I cannot ask, one clear request creates a problem for that belief. If the old identity says nothing changes for me, one different response creates a problem for that belief. At first, the story will try to dismiss the evidence. It was too small, it does not count, you got lucky, anyone could do that. Record it anyway. Your old identity survives by deleting contradictory evidence. Do not help it. Act before the excuse matures. The gap between deciding and acting is where the old identity rebuilds itself. You get a clear movement, you know the message to send, you know the application to start, you know the conversation to have, you know the accounts to open, the numbers to look at, the call to make, the habit to begin. Then you wait, and the old system gets time to work. It creates reasons and it gathers doubt. It checks your mood. It tells you tomorrow is cleaner. It asks for more research. It reminds you of the last time. It makes the action feel heavier by the hour. So, shorten the gap. When you identify the move, take the smallest meaningful step immediately, not the whole mountain. The first cut will be open the document, send the message, book the call, write the first ugly paragraph, put the shoes on, ask the question, block the time. The goal is not drama, the goal is uninterruption. The old identity wins where it gets enough time to turn action into theory. Do something before the theory hardens. Your environment teaches you what is normal. You do not form your ceiling alone. The people around you quietly teaches you what counts as realistic. Spend enough time around cynical people and their limits start sounding like common sense. They do not have to tell you to shrink. They just react strangely when you reach. A small ambition gets mocked. A serious effort gets called intense. A new opportunity gets explained away. A changed routine gets treated like arrogance. After a while, you stop bringing your bigger thoughts into the room. Then you stop having them. The reverse is also true. Spend enough time around people who act, test, build, ask, recover, and keep moving, and your baseline changes. What used to feel bold starts feeling normal. What used to feel impossible starts feeling like a project. This is one reason mentors, coaches, ambitious peers, and serious professionals environments matter. They do not just give information, they update your sense of what is normal. Sometimes you do not need that another motivational speech. You need to spend time around people whose standards make your excuse looks outdated. Small wins become a new self image. Do not underestimate the first few weeks. They may feel awkward. Of course, they do. You are acting against an identity that has had years to become automatic. The old response is smooth because you have practiced it. The new response feels clumsy because it has no history yet. Stay with it. Small actions become repeated actions become habit, habit becomes evidence, evidence becomes identity. You do not become someone completely different because you made one dramatic promise. You become different because one honest decision begins a chain of behavior that the old version of you would not have chosen. That is why the decision has to be honest, not performative, not announced to everyone, not dressed up as motivation. Honest. The kind of decision where you admit, I have been protecting this story because it explains my life without inquiring me to change it. That admission hurts a little. Good. The pain means the story has been touched. So, what you can do, take out a page today, write three areas where you regularly blame your past, other people, your environment, the system, or any kind of circumstances. For each one, answer four questions. Is this actually my fault? Regardless of fault, what part is now my responsibility? What is one concrete action I can take? Can I take that action today? Do not use this exercise to attack yourself, use it to recover control. Pick one area, take one small action immediately, not after you feel ready, now. Send that message, make the call, open the numbers, apply for the role, ask for the help, set the boundary, start the work, do the first visible thing that contradicts the old story. Then record what happens. That record matters. You are building a case against the identity that kept you smaller than necessary. Old pattern, problem, blame, helplessness, inaction, same situation. The new pattern, problem, separate fault from responsibility, find control, act, create evidence, build a new identity. You may not control what happened, you may not control every condition around you, but you have more control over the next move than the old story allows you to see. And sometimes one honest move is enough to prove that the person you thought you were was never the final version. It was only the version you had evidence for so far. If you like this type of content, then please check out other videos and let me know if you want me to cover any other topic as well. Until then, see you in the next video.